You don't have to go looking for places. You can just sort of slow down and not have an agenda and enjoy yourself. It's one of those places in Southeast Asia where if you want to simply breathe and absorb, you're perfectly at home here. An elementary school, but not just any elementary school.
As the sign suggests, this school's been around since before French colonizers picked up and left Laos in 1953.
A teacher came out and blew a whistle, and they're all headed in from recess. A sign on the front that says it's bilingual, which I must assume in this case is Lao and French. Although I don't know. The kids who came up to me were speaking English.
Hello.
Do you speak English?
Yes.
That's great. You studying English?
Yes.
You guys all look very smart to me. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye. I've ordered the lemongrass chicken with rice and a soup to go with it. And I'm content to just sit here and wait for my food. Yeah, I've moved just inside the doorway to this open-air restaurant. And my food has arrived. Traditionally, going back centuries, the king of the city-state of Luang Prabang was responsible for hiring the cooks of the town. I mentioned that as an antecedent to the fact that for so long, this relatively small city has had an outsized reputation as a food place. And of course, along came the French in the 1890s to colonize Laos. And the French contributed a great deal, so that ever since, down to this day, this place retains its reputation as a foodie haven. And I must say that the meals that I've had here have been simply outstanding. It's almost like eating in a fine dining experience. There's one place in Luang Prabang that offers perhaps the best bird's eye view within the city, and that's the Phousi hill. There are about 300 steps here. That's where I'm climbing. Just begun to climb. It's a bit later in the morning than I preferred, but blame that on either poor time management or just the pleasure of sitting around on a quiet street at a cafe. There's a small but impressive wat with a golden stupa at the very top. Women near the bottom of the hill sell little birds in cages to tourists. The idea is to release them as a gesture of significance on this hill, which is considered holy. Below me is not the Mekong, it's the Namsan River, which is a tributary that flows into the Mekong on the opposite side of the hill here, just up the way. If you can see it, the flat area is the old airstrip that is now, of course, Luang Prabang International Airport. This small temple as I think I mentioned, was built in 1804. There were people who come here as a pilgrimage, but there's hardly room, as I think you can tell, for a large number of people, and yet it's still a functioning Wat, as all of them are here. The legend associated with the Phousi hill is that sometime long ago it was literally picked up and moved from Ceylon, or Sri Lanka today, and placed here by the monkey god Hanuman. Now, interestingly, the Mon people settled this part of Laos beginning in about the 6th or the 7th century CE. And they brought with them the particular strain of Buddhism that still exists here. One would understand the association between the legend of the hill being moved from Sri Lanka to the advent of Buddhism here. Hello, girls.
Hello. Hello.
What is your name?
My name is Tukta.
Tuta.
My name is Konta.
Konta.
My name is Pottery.
Ah. This beautiful palace and its grounds were built for King Sisavang Vang and his family. And it was situated not as you might expect because of the narrow street in front of the grounds, which has been and remains one of the town's main arteries. But it was located for its proximity to the Mekong River on the other side of the building. Official visitors to Luang Prabang back in the day arrived here by boat, and they could be received directly beneath the palace. The royal palace was built in 1904 during the French colonial era, and so the architecture is a blend of Lao and French Beaux Arts styles. It will come as no surprise that I was unable to video inside the palace, although there were no signs. And so when I am encountered with nothing telling me not to do something, I do it until someone stops me.
That's good. So
It is a very impressive place inside, with rich wood floors, grand chandeliers with gilding covering much of the walls that paintings do not occupy. You can walk throughout it. You can see the king's bedroom, the grand dining hall, and of course the throne room. The reception rooms included official gifts to the kingdom presented by numerous nations around the world, and interestingly to me, they were grouped according to whether the nations were or are capitalist or socialist. In there somewhere, allegedly, is or was a moon rock brought back from the Apollo missions given to the royal family by the United States not long before the dynasty's end. For the life of me, I couldn't find it, and even if I had, I couldn't show you a picture of it. King Sisavong, whose statue you see behind me, died in 1959. It did not go well for the dynasty afterward. After the Pathat Lao took over in 1975, his oldest son, who succeeded him, Sisavong Vatthana, was hauled away along with his wife and family to a re-education camp in the jungles of northern Laos. along with other members of the royal family. Many of them died there from the effects of forced labor and starvation. The ex-king survived that camp, and depending upon the source, died in the late 70s or in the early 80s. His youngest son lived much longer. In fact, he reportedly died in Paris in 2018. Today these grounds are meticulously kept, and it is indeed like a park. But of course it's euphemistically referred to as the Luang Prabang National Museum. It's the preferred moniker in a socialist country that at least acknowledges and well preserves, I might add, the portion of this country's history when it was a monarchy.
Given Laos history, there's an inevitable nostalgia here. Case in point is the former Royal Ballet Theatre, shut down after the Revolution, but revived in the 1990s, and once again a performance venue. One constant, Wat Mai, graceful and important in Lao culture regardless of politics. Once the temple of the royal family, it's home to the country's most important religious relic, a Buddha that means royal Buddha, or as you would say in Lao, Luang Prabang.
About to enjoy breakfast. I've selected some watermelon and papaya and some dragon fruit to begin the breakfast, along with a nice cup of black coffee. My accommodations are just a half block off a very quiet street that runs along the Mekong River, with longboats sailing by. A very pleasant place. I've come down to a lovely park at the north end of Luang Prabang, shaded with nice walkways and with beautiful views, not only of the Mekong, but of the Nam Khan, where the two rivers meet. I think I was aware of this park before ever seeing it because of an interview that Anthony Bourdain did here at the little restaurant on one side of it during one of his programs about Laos. It really is a kind of Land's End, if you will, the peaceful tip of an otherwise peaceful city where there's no noise, there's no external sound here except the sound of nature. Another reason I came to this park is to show you something special. It's a bamboo bridge that crosses the Nam Khan, the River Khan here. Let's go have a look. You could see videos or photos of this bridge year in, year out, but it wouldn't be the same bridge. This bridge is put up in June of each year. It's built anew in June. It's taken down in November. The water level rises during the rainy season, and it would otherwise be taken out by nature. A temporary permanent bridge because it's always been here countless years built in this spot to connect Luang Prabang to the next landmass just over the river, the Mekong River, that is. And I do see that there's a small Buddhist shrine on the hill just above the river here. So I'll hike up there and see what the views are like.
As those of you who've been here can attest, there are no bad views in Luang Prabang. Like the experiences you're most likely to have here, there's only good and better. The best is for you to decide.